The president has turned the nation's 250th anniversary into a laughable bust, just a grotesque, slapdash, surreal spectacle. This morning, for example, the Secretary of Defense hosted a ceremony honoring National Guard troops, which have been deployed to D.C. for almost a year. Hegseth showed up 30 minutes late to his outdoor event, only to shout about protesters in 100-degree weather.
This background noise this morning is perfect. It's the sound of ingrates, of ingratitude, of people who are so blinded by ideology they can't see law and order and common sense in front of them.
I just want to be clear here. It didn't have to be this way. There was a plan for some really awesome, nonpartisan, unifying events this year. It was years in the making until Donald Trump just destroyed all of it. Congressman Jared Huffman's a Democrat of California. He's been investigating Trump's takeover of America's birthday for months. Today, he's out with a 55-page report accusing Trump of using the celebration for corruption and self-enrichment, and he joins me now. You know, Congressman, I've been sort of watching the spectacle, but I've been doing more reading over the last few days, and partly because I've been talking to people my parents' age who really have wonderfully, like, lifelong fond memories of '76. Like, can tell you things they did, remember events. And one of the things I'd like you to sort of talk us through is there was a bunch of planning before Donald Trump came along to have like a big celebration that wasn't just a kind of chintzy airsats MAGA rally, right?
Absolutely. I was part of the Congress 10 years ago that set all of that in motion, that stood up this America 250 commission in a very bipartisan, non-political way, and that put guardrails in statute to prevent it from becoming a political weapon for anyone.
What happened?
Yeah, Donald Trump happened. When Donald Trump came in early last year, he first tried to take over this bipartisan, nonpartisan commission because he wanted America's birthday to be about him, about his vanity projects, about his political and religious programming that he wanted to move forward under the banner of America 250. And he wanted to do things that enriched himself and his cronies. And so this report that we've released today tells the details of how he made that happen.
I want people to understand this. There's this kind of really insidious bait and switch. So there's America 250, which was statutorily created. Here's an announcement from August 1st, 2024 that announces President Bush and Obama, First Ladies, as honorary national co-chairs. And then they come in, and you say in the report, they first attempted to bend America 250, which was like the real commission that was going to do this, to its purpose, demanding spectacles focused on promoting Trump rather than the country while forcing partisan content, campaign-style fundraisers, and favorite contractors. When America 250 would not yield, the White House created a replacement, Freedom 250 LLC. So they have created a parallel organization they control that's now basically running the celebration.
Absolutely. They sidelined America 250. They siphoned off at least $100 million of public money into this shell company. They housed it within a trusted charity that has been working with the Department of Interior for 50 years, the National Park Foundation. That was to confuse people, but also to give them the benefit of total secrecy so that they could proceed to award themselves huge no-bid contracts, to have all of this radical partisan and religious programming as part of Freedom 250, and of course to enrich Donald Trump himself in several cases.
This is a crazy detail from your report. So, according to sources familiar with the matter, prospective donors and sponsors, right? People, you're raising money, you're saying, oh, I want to give. I love America, and I want to celebrate the 250th anniversary. They've been told by the Trump administration they do not have a green light to donate to America 250.
Yeah.
Donors who intended to donate to American 250 were instead given wire instructions with Freedom 250's banking information, including its routing number and account number, meaning you're strongly suggesting that donors who wanted to donate to the actual commission, the actual organization, were given the routing number of the, like, parallel Trump-controlled one without their knowledge?
We have this from whistleblowers, and we are going to continue following through on this investigation. It's an open investigation, but if that proves up, it has all the hallmarks of wire fraud.
Yeah, I mean, you said I'm a lawyer and I know better than pronounce that a crime has been committed, but I do know the elements of fraud, and there is elements of all those, you know, there's all those elements here. I want to say what the spokesperson for Freedom 250 said, just so you can respond to it. This is the Washington Post reporting on a report. This so-called report is nothing more than a partisan smear from politicians who would rather manufacture division than celebrate America's 250th birthday alongside the rest of the country. The spokesperson also criticized America 250, saying the bipartisan organization had nothing to show for its 10 years of planning and spending. Freedom 250 was created because the American people deserve better. Is that true that they just dropped the ball, America 250?
Not at all. No, under the chairwoman, things were really moving forward in a unified way. And that's why when the Trump team tried to strong arm 4 Republican commissioners into dropping off the commission so that they could do their hostile takeover, the commissioners refused to go, and the whole hostile takeover kind of blew up in their face. So that's when they went to Plan B. They set up this shell company, and they started doing all of this siphoning of funding and setting up of all of these other operations. It was incredibly craven. And, you know, they wrecked our national birthday, Chris. And you're absolutely right to point out 1976 and the bicentennial. I was a 12-year-old kid, and I remember what a wonderful unifying moment that was. And, you know, we had a president at the time that was in a tough race for his political survival, Gerald Ford. He wouldn't have dreamed of politicizing or hijacking this important moment of national unity. Nobody would have thought of it, but Donald Trump is very different.
Yeah, and also, we're not talking about, I mean, the things that were made in preparation for that aren't, you know, some stage that got struck. Like the Washington Metro opened its first line in 1976 as a part of the celebration. There were, you know, the reflecting pool that's outside the Capitol, I believe, opened in the run-up to it. The sculpture garden that's on the mall, like huge, big projects to you know, the big national projects, not whatever the heck they've put on that mall.
And we could have had that again. We were on track to have a really unifying, wonderful national celebration. And the programming and content was going to be developed by serious people like folks at the Smithsonian. Instead, what we got are these freedom trucks that are running around the country, proselytizing and pushing a fake history developed by PragerU.
It's really beyond. I have to say, I watched a video today of a local report with a woman and her husband who were there, and they had Trump hats on, so they appear to be, you know, fans of the president. And they got so hot because there's no air conditioning inside the halls that she felt like she was going to have a heat stroke. And so she found reprieve in the baptism tent they have set up, where there was a pool of water that she jumped into to stop herself from having heat stroke. Apparently there's a baptism tent.
Well, I'm glad that it was used for something that was needed.
The Lord works in mysterious ways indeed. Congressman Jared Huffman, co-author of the upcoming book, No Profits, The Fight to Save Democracy from Christian Nationalism, with Congressman Jamie Raskin, and also author of this report, which you should definitely go check out because I learned a ton from it. Thank you, Congressman.
Please. Thank you, Chris.